How gratitude became an emotional trap. What if every time you force a smile and repeat, "I'm so grateful," you're actually silencing the part of you that needs to be heard the most? Look, I know this sounds controversial. We live in an era where gratitude has become practically a secular religion. Open any social media platform, and you'll find thousands of posts talking about gratitude energy, high vibrations, and how you need to be thankful even for your problems. Sounds beautiful, even inspiring, but there's a dark side to the story that nobody wants to tell you. The truth is that the culture of compulsory gratitude is functioning as a sophisticated mental virus. And the scariest part, you might be infected without even realizing it. This virus operates through a simple but devastating mechanism. It hijacks your ability to process uncomfortable emotions and replaces them with a fake layer of positivity. It's like putting a colorful band-aid on an open wound and pretending it doesn't exist. Think about it. When you're going through something genuinely difficult, a breakup, a loss, a deep frustration, and someone tells you, "But you have so much to be grateful for," what's really happening? Is that person validating your pain or asking you to silence it? Are they helping you process or teaching you to repress? A study from UC Berkeley revealed something fascinating about this. Researchers discovered that people who were forced to express gratitude during moments of real suffering showed elevated levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, and greater difficulty processing their negative emotions later on. In other words, faking gratitude when you're hurting doesn't make you feel better, it makes you worse. But the mental virus of toxic gratitude is even smarter than that. It doesn't just stop you from feeling the pain. It makes you feel guilty for feeling it. It creates a narrative where you're ungrateful, negative, or low vibe for simply acknowledging that something isn't right. It's a form of collective gaslighting, where society convinces you that your valid feelings are actually a character flaw. And here's the cruel irony. The more you try to force yourself to be grateful, the less you can access genuine gratitude. Because real gratitude isn't a denial of pain. It's something that emerges naturally when you allow all your emotions to exist, including the uncomfortable ones. It's like trying to make a plant grow by pulling its leaves. You don't accelerate the process, you destroy the plant. Think about your own life. How many times have you felt terrible inside, but posted something grateful because that's what's expected of you? How many times have you swallowed anger, sadness, or frustration because you were taught these emotions are low and you should be vibrating higher? And how many times, after doing that, did you feel even worse, like there was something fundamentally wrong with you? That's the virus operating, and it's preventing you from accessing the one thing that could actually set you free, the raw truth about what you're feeling. Because it's only when you stop running from the pain, when you look it in the eyes and say, "Yes, this hurts and it's okay to hurt," that real healing can begin. Forced gratitude is an emotional prison disguised as spirituality. And it's time you see the bars. If this made sense to you, drop a like. And if you've ever caught yourself faking gratitude when you really wanted to scream, comment here. Real. Subscribe to the channel because in the next parts I'm going to show you exactly how this mental virus installed itself in you, how the perfection virus hijacked your authenticity. What if the obsessive pursuit of becoming a better person is actually turning you into someone increasingly distant from who you really are? Let's connect the dots here. The toxic gratitude we unpacked in the first part doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's part of a much larger and much more dangerous mental virus, the emotional perfection virus. And this virus has a very specific goal: to convince you that you need to fix, optimize, and elevate every aspect of your human experience until there's nothing genuinely human left in you. Look at how this plays out in practice. You feel anger? The virus tells you, evolved people don't feel anger. You need to work on that. You feel sadness? Stop the victim mentality. Focus on the positive. You feel envy? Low energy. You're attracting bad things. It's as if every natural human emotion is treated like a software bug that needs to be deleted. And here's the dirtiest trick of this virus. It sells you the idea that you're evolving when you're actually just fragmenting. Because every time you reject a part of yourself, your anger, your sadness, your envy, Your pain, you're not getting rid of it. You're just shoving it into a dark corner of your psyche, where it will rot and transform into something much worse. Psychologist Susan David from Harvard University coined a perfect term for this: the tyranny of positivity. In her research, she found that people who consistently try to suppress negative emotions show higher risk of developing anxiety, depression, and even physical health problems. The body doesn't forget what the mind tries to ignore. But there's something even more perverse about this perfection virus. It creates a false version of you. An evolved persona that's always grateful, always positive, always at peace. And that persona isn't you. It's a mask, an exhausting performance you maintain because you learned that your real version, with all its imperfections and contradictions, isn't acceptable. Think about how much energy you spend every day maintaining that facade. How much mental effort goes into making sure you don't seem too negative, don't complain too much, don't show too much vulnerability. It's like living in a reality show 24/7, where you're simultaneously the contestant and the cruelest judge. And you're never, ever good enough. And you know what's most terrifying? This virus makes you believe the problem is you. That if you can't maintain the impossible standard of emotional perfection, it's because you're not trying hard enough. You're not meditating enough. Not doing the right affirmations. Not doing the inner work. It's an infinite loop of self-blame. The truth nobody wants to tell you is this: you don't need more forced gratitude. You don't need more toxic positivity. You don't need to become a better and more palatable version of yourself. What you really need is permission. Permission to be completely human. Permission to feel the full spectrum of your emotions without judgment. Permission to be imperfect, contradictory, messy. Because here's the paradox that will blow your mind. It's only when you stop trying to be perfect that real transformation happens. It's only when you embrace your complete humanity, including the parts that self-help culture taught you to reject, that you begin to experience something like genuine peace. The perfection virus wants to convince you that you're an unfinished project that needs constant correction. But what if you're already whole? What if your flaws aren't bugs, but essential features of your humanity? What if the only thing truly broken is the system that taught you to hate yourself? Drop a like if this resonated with you, and comment human if you're tired of faking perfection. Stay tuned, because in the next part, I'm going to reveal exactly how you start breaking free from this prison. Why feeling your pain is the only real path to freedom. What if the only way to truly overcome your pain was to stop trying to overcome it and start feeling it completely? I know this goes against everything you've been taught. The entire personal development industry is built on the idea that you need to leave the past behind, raise your frequency, and focus on the positive. But here's the inconvenient truth nobody wants to admit: all these escape strategies are exactly what keeps you trapped. Let's be brutally honest here. When you feel deep emotional pain, rejection, loss, betrayal, shame, and immediately run to a gratitude mantra or a positive affirmation, what are you really doing? You're numbing. You're putting a blindfold on and hoping the monster will go away if you pretend it doesn't exist. Spoiler alert, it won't. Because unprocessed emotional pain doesn't disappear. It accumulates. It ferments. It transforms into chronic anxiety, self-destructive behaviors, toxic relationships, depression disguised as exhaustion. It leaks through every crack in your life until you can't ignore it anymore. And even then, the mental virus convinces you to add another layer of forced gratitude on top. There's research from the University of Texas that illustrates this perfectly. Researchers found that people who consistently suppress negative emotions show greater activation of the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear and anxiety, even when they think they're controlling their emotions. Your body is registering the pain your mind is trying to deny. So what's the alternative? The alternative is radically simple and terrifyingly difficult. Feel, really feel, without trying to fix it, without trying to reframe it, without trying to extract a lesson. Just let the emotion exist in your body, move through you, complete its natural cycle. Think about a small child who falls and scrapes their knee. They cry immediately, loud and without shame. And after a few minutes, they stop crying and go back to playing. Done. The pain was processed. But if you told that child, stop crying, you have so much to be grateful for, you have two knees, what would happen? The pain would get stuck. It would turn into shame. It would become an emotional knot they'd carry for years. That's exactly what you're doing to yourself. Every time you deny your pain with forced gratitude, you're creating a knot. And then you wonder why you feel this diffuse anguish you can't name, this weight on your chest that won't go away even when your life is, objectively, fine. The liberating truth is this: you don't need to transform your pain into something beautiful. You don't need to find the silver lining. You don't need to be grateful for the lesson. You just need to honor the pain as a valid experience, feel it without judgment, and trust that it will pass naturally when it completes its cycle. Because it always passes. Always. But there's a crucial detail here. Feeling the pain isn't drowning in it. It's not making it your identity. It's not building a stage for it. It's simply acknowledging, this hurts. This is difficult. And it's okay that it's difficult. It's giving space for the emotion to exist without trying to control it, and without losing yourself in it. And here's the magic nobody tells you: when you stop running from the pain, when you finally allow it to exist, it loses power over you. Because the pain that destroys you isn't the one you feel. It's the one you deny, press, and push down with layers and layers of toxic positivity. That's what will consume you from the inside out. The path to freedom doesn't go over your pain. It goes through it. And on the other side of that crossing, it's not a healed and perfect version of you. It's something much better, an authentic version, whole, capable of feeling everything without being destroyed by anything. Are you ready to stop running? Drop a like if this message touched you. Comment, feel if you're willing to take this journey. And stick around, because in the final part, I'm going to give you the exact map to start this transformation right now. How to reclaim your emotional authenticity starting now. What if you could start breaking free from this mental virus today? This moment. Just by making a different choice. Look, I'm not going to sell you a magic formula. I'm not going to promise you'll wake up tomorrow completely healed if you follow 5 simple steps. Because that's exactly the kind of promise that put you in this prison in the first place. What I'm going to give you is something far more valuable. Real tools to start dismantling the layers of lies you've built around your emotional truth. First thing you need to understand: reclaiming your emotional authenticity isn't an event. It's a daily practice. It's a choice you're going to make 1,000 times a day to honor what you're really feeling instead of performing what you think you should be feeling. So let's start with the basics. The next time someone asks how you're doing and you're not okay, try this. Don't lie. Don't say "I'm great" when you're shattered inside. You don't need to dump your problems on anyone, but you can simply say, "going through a rough time." 3 words. Simple, revolutionary. Because every time you lie about what you're feeling, you reinforce the virus. You tell your nervous system that your real emotions aren't safe, aren't acceptable. And every time you tell the truth, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's vulnerable, you start reprogramming that belief. Second step: create an emotional check-in ritual. Every day, set aside 5 minutes to sit with yourself and ask a simple question. What am I really feeling right now? Not what you should be feeling, not what would be more positive to feel, what you're genuinely feeling in this moment. And here's the crucial part: when the answer comes anger, sadness, fear, frustration, whatever it is, don't try to fix it. Don't run to gratitude. Don't look for the bright side. Just sit with the emotion. Feel it in your body. Where is it? How does it manifest? Let it exist for a few minutes without doing absolutely anything with it. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to feel wrong, but because you've been trained your entire life to run from this discomfort. But it's in this space of doing nothing, just witnessing, that the magic happens. The emotion moves. It transforms. It completes its natural cycle. Third tool: learn to differentiate between genuine gratitude and performative gratitude. Real gratitude isn't something you force when you're suffering. It's something that emerges spontaneously when you're present with your complete experience. It's not a denial of pain. It's an expansion that includes both the pain and the good things. So stop making gratitude lists when you're feeling terrible. Stop trying to convince yourself you should be grateful when what you really need is to cry, scream, or punch a pillow. Allow gratitude to be organic, not a tool for emotional repression. And here's the definitive test. Are you using gratitude to feel or to not feel? If the answer is to not feel, you're feeding the virus. If it's to expand your experience without denying any part of it, you're on the right track. Last thing, and perhaps most important, stop judging your emotions as good or bad, high or low, positive or negative. Emotions don't have morality. They just are. Anger doesn't make you a bad person. Sadness doesn't put you in a low vibration. Envy doesn't mean you're spiritually behind. They're just signals from your internal system telling you something needs attention. Real transformation doesn't happen when you transcend your negative emotions. It happens when you stop warring with them and start integrating them. When you realize you're not your emotions, but you're also not separate from them. You're the space where all of them can exist without defining you or destroying you. This is the path. It's not glamorous. You can't post it on Instagram with a pretty filter, but it's real, and it's yours. And at the end of the day, after years of performing perfection and faking gratitude, what you really want is to be real, isn't it? So start today. Choose to be truthful instead of perfect. Choose to feel instead of perform. Choose you, complete and imperfect, instead of the edited version the world expects. If this video resonated with you, drop a like. Comment, free if you're ready for this journey of authenticity. Subscribe to the channel because I'm going to keep bringing content that challenges the status quo and helps you think for yourself. And share this with someone who needs to hear this message. Let's create a wave of authenticity in this sea of fake perfection. See you in the next video.